Welcome to Sabbath School Lesson Catch Up, a review designed to help you feel more centered and connected. If we're being honest, we've side-eyed someone else this week. People in a community will get into fights over things. Don't we in the church? Let's look at the Israelite tribes arguing over an altar in Joshua 22 and see how we can foster unity. In Joshua 22, we learn that the tribes of Gad and Reuben and the half tribe of Manasseh fulfilled their promise. What was the deal? Well, they asked and were given land before the other tribes on the east side of the Jordan. So they swore they'd leave their family to help their fellow Israelites fight until they have their own piece of land. Do you see the importance of unity here? They served their brothers as if they were working for God. That's exactly what the Apostle Paul reminds us to do in Ephesians 6. Serve your brothers with goodwill to please God alone. We sure can please God because He will empower us if only we will. So Joshua told them, stay faithful, blessed them, and finally said, you can go home now. Mission accomplished. So the eastern tribes, that is the Reubenites, the Gadites, and the half tribe of Manasseh, crossed the Jordan River and built a massive altar. The western tribes, that is the remaining nine and a half tribes, heard of this and immediately assumed that the eastern tribes have given up on Yahweh. So they gathered to make war against the eastern tribes. Look up Joshua 22, verse 12. Sometimes we need to be careful not to jump too soon to conclusions. Jesus reminds us not to judge because God alone knows the true motives of others. Look up Luke 6 and 1 Corinthians 4. The story takes an interesting turn now. The western tribes decide to send a delegation, Phinehas and 10 tribal chiefs. If you don't remember, Phinehas is the guy who stopped the plague that killed 24,000 Israelites in the plains of Moab because they were worshipping an idol, Baal Peor, and fornicating. With a javelin, Phinehas thrust through both an Israelite man and a Midianite woman fornicating in a tent while Israel was literally weeping over their sin. Read the whole story in Numbers 25. The delegation reminds the eastern tribes that in the past the whole nation suffered because of the sin of one man, Achan, Joshua 7, and because of their idolatry and fornication in the plains of Moab. They were worried this new altar would lead them to rebel against God. How do we keep our past hurts from making us assume the worst about people? Let's talk it out before we bring the javelins. The two and a half tribes answered with gentleness to dispel the accusations. They even said God should punish them if they built it to depart from God. It's all in Joshua 22 from verse 22. They built the altar out of concern that future generations of Western tribes might question their connection to the Lord because of the Jordan River acting as a boundary. It wasn't intended for burnt offerings or sacrifices, but as a witness between the tribes and their descendants, signifying their right to worship and offer sacrifices to the Lord. The Western tribes delegation rejoiced at the news, and the civil war was avoided. May God give us the grace to reply gently to false accusations as we're instructed in Proverbs 15. A soft reply can literally save the day. The Joshua 22 incident gives us some pro tips for church unity. If something feels off, do not wait to speak up. Communicate before you act. Don't jump to conclusions. Talk it out before you freak out. Be willing to compromise. When accused, give a gentle answer that turns away wrath. Praise God when peace is restored. Admit you might be wrong. How do we handle church discipline? Imagine if we made these tips our new routine. Our church would be unstoppable. In Patriarchs and Prophets, pages 517 through 519, Ellen White reminds us 1. To ditch groundless suspicions but deal with sin with care and thoroughness. 2. To imitate the Eastern tribes' attitude who were falsely accused but chose to respond with gentleness and let God defend them. Hey, Jesus prayed we remain united so the world may believe in him. Don't forget to subscribe and join us for your weekly dose of holy homework.